world famous
Mike Berry. Roll out the red carpet.
Bruce has got the
Come on, Mike. We don't have any of that stuff. We do the fancy stuff.
Yeah,
it's
nothing, do all that.
Nothing. And nothing.
Those tech guys, man.
There's a red carpet out before you, Mike. You just can't see it.
What's the other one, Brian? You can do this one.
Oh, yeah, isn't that balloons?
You guys.
What's
Anyway.
the balloons?
I don't remember.
Is it? Oh, yeah, there you go. Just the one hand. Yeah.
Just having a party in here tonight already.
I mean, yeah. Hang on.
Yeah.
There it is.
Hey, guess who just called me during the intro?
I like the other one that said Senior Chief
Brian Lee, the guy who made the hat, the famous hat.
I ain't talking to Brian Lee no more.
Here he is.
I wouldn't answer his calls when he said he was coming on Friday instead of Saturday or whatever day it was. Thursday instead of Friday.
Oh wow, look at that. We got
now we know why you didn't come until Friday. Okay, now I got it.
No, it was because of that.
Bad blood.
He called me and said he wasn't going to make it. He said, well, I'm going Thursday now because he was going to come Friday, but I got somebody digging the pond. I'm like, so let him dig the pond. And so I started, what do you call it? Ghosting. I ghosted him. I said, I'm done with him.
You ghosted him.
I wonder what was in the pond that he wanted to make sure that the pond digger didn't dig.
Yeah, like the pond digger knows more than he does about digging ponds. So what difference does it make if he was there or picking up equipment, hanging out with the cool kids?
Unless there was something that was dug in the pond that he didn't want the pond digger to dig up.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm done with Brian Lee.
Mm-hmm. I think he's still on the road. I think we just got a message from him a little while ago. He's got some windshield time. So, Mr. Brian Lee, if you're listening to this, we just want to say howdy. We appreciate you. Thanks for all your help.
Look at this. We get Mike in here and he's getting all fired up. Got people all fired up.
Brian,
man,
that name.
I'm telling you. See, well, what's going on there, Southern fellas? Let's start with Mike. Yeah, let's start over there with Mike. What's going on there, Mr. Barry?
No, I'm trying to catch up with Bruce. I'm just working my bees, man, getting them ready. They're blowing up right now, so I'm made a few splits today, walkaways, because I don't have my queens yet. I got some grafting done today. I think I got 60. I think out of that 40 it took. So we got about 40 cells waiting to get going. So if I can hurry up and push my bees a little longer, I can go ahead and get them split next week in the rain. I can't wait for that. Other than that, man, feeds off except for a couple ones. And yeah, it's going to be like it was over there. It's going to be off and on rain. So just gearing up, man, for splits. That's the big thing. Once I split, I can kind of put the bees on somewhat of a little cruise control where I'm just supering them up after that. But man, they're growing like those Russians I got out on those pallets, man. Those things are putting in brood like once they go, they go. And and they're tough. There's some tough bees too now. I'm gonna tell you. But yeah, everything's growing, doing good, and we're starting to see leaves come out. It's turning spring down here.
That's awesome. Awesome. Bruce, I know when we get over to him, he's going to say, yeah, I did 124 splits. I got 400 colonies now, 10 out yards.
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's a good thing me and Bruce don't live too close.
Yeah, no doubt, man. We would be splitting bees, and we would be there'd all be all kinds of shenanigans going on with growing bees down here for sure.
Yeah,
and up there wherever we were living close together, we'd be making bees for sure.
Well, if you were living near him, you wouldn't be making bees right now.
No, you wouldn't.
No, that's true. That's true. But I mean, we would be figuring out ways to grow,
dreaming and scheming. Yeah,
absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Here in Alabama, I went through all the splits and looked at the queen acceptance. It was getting late by the end of the day on Saturday when I did it, and so I couldn't really see in Appling Farms. I couldn't tell really well. Couldn't see a lot of eggs. All the queens were released. There were a couple at Appling Farms that I could tell for sure. Probably one of them had queen cells in it, and the other one I couldn't find any evidence of a queen when it was still kind of light out there. So I think that Greg, by dropping that split down, on the original spot, and the foragers coming back, that might have been a little bit dangerous for them. I think a vast majority of them got accepted, but as far as I know, everywhere else I looked, I think we had close to 100% acceptance on them. I think as far as the nukes go, there were queens, there were eggs in every one of them that I checked. I didn't check the yellow ones at the farm, but I did check all the ones at Midland City, and they all had eggs in them. And I saw a lot of the queens. I'm assuming they were Zach's queens, but it's a possibility we might have grabbed one or two when we were making those splits because we weren't doing the queen excluder splits there. So it's possible we got some of the original queens in there. But anyway, there's queens in all of them with eggs that I could see for sure in those 20. And then the ones that in Slocum looked like they were pretty much all been released and were laying from what I could tell. I didn't go into a lot of detail. I was running out of time. But I'll know more as we go along. And I'm going to kind of just, as far as like going through them, I'm not going to do a lot of that in the queen excluder 10 frame splits I did because I'm just going to kind of let them do their thing. If they did make queen cells, which at least one of them for sure did, then I'll just got to give them some time to get those new little queens mated and get them out there. But I think most of them, a vast majority, I'm going to say probably at least 90% of them are takes. We'll see. I think that's the case. And the nukes were extremely strong, Greg. I didn't realize how strong they were. I mean, I guess when we put 2 to 3 frames, sheets of brood in those things, when that brood starts to emerge, it just fills up in a hurry. Because when I went in them this past Saturday, Friday or Saturday, whatever day it was, I don't know if you saw my reel I did in my the shorter reel or whatever I did, but they were just rolling in bees already. And they were just starting to draw out a little bit on that empty frame. And so this week I think I'm going to go in there, and I assume there'll be many more bees in there as well. I'll probably bring another empty frame in there, and just kind of try to rotate them in, and so they get those drawn out. And then by the next week, they'll probably be ready to go into 10 frame boxes. We made those so strong. But anyway, that's what I did this weekend. We were kind of up against the crunch. That's when Mike came down. That was awesome 2 weeks ago. What a great time that was. Mike is over there. There he is right there.
Those are some good hot dogs.
Those are good hot dogs. I went there the day before, then we went there that day, and then the next day before Greg and Jake got out here, we went there one more time on the way back through. So I had it 3 days in a row. But yeah, they are so good. Those were good times. That was a blast. Such a good time 2 weeks ago down here. But anyway, so I'm just going to kind of I put open feed out to all of them. I fed all the nukes all the new nukes in the frame feeders, and I filled all the buckets up. A lot of those were close to empty. A lot of them, they'd consumed a lot of that food out of the bucket feeders. I will say, Mike, I'm not sure if you're seeing this over there, but as of this past weekend, we did not have a flow of any kind going on. They were all over, any sugar syrup that was spilled, they were on it immediately. They were my brother, or let's see, my brother, I think it was my daughter actually called me the day after I put it out. I guess it was Saturday or Sunday afternoon. Must have been Sunday. She called me and she said, are the bees swarming? Is it swarm season? I said, no, why? And she said, well, down that black tote you have down there, there's bees everywhere. I said, well, that's because I just put food out for them. Actually, that was Monday she called me. But they're hungry. They're looking. That's probably why they were so nasty. They're trying to split because there's just really not anything of significance coming in. I see a few flowers blooming, a few things blooming around, but they are just jumping all over that stuff. And so I can't wait for a nice little flow to hit and calm them down a little bit. Are you seeing the same thing, Mike? I know things are turning green a little bit. There's a few flowers blooming around, but I don't see a lot of. Maybe they're just not finding things they want. I'm not sure what it is.
No, I ran into some robin opening some hives up the other day. Got a little my cell builder. I did a cloak board on one of them, and when I went in to check rogue cells, or I forget what I went to check, but I looked in and I was prepping it, and it was full of dead bees. And at first I thought it might have been that Carolina jasmine, but it wasn't. It was robbing. They had started robbing because I had a little bit of honey out for just a little bit. But then a couple of days later, you could open the hives and everything was fine. So I think something has started. We are seeing a lot of clover that's popping in, and all the blackberries, or what they call around here dewberries, are starting to really bloom pretty hard. So once those bloom hard, we'll see the robbing cease. But we're seeing a little bit. I need to get some frames robbed out because I'm yanking honey out of some of these double deeps that are too heavy. And we loaded them in the truck. My buddy's going to take them to his yard and let his bees feed on it. And they were in the truck while we were talking for probably 10 minutes. And I saw 10 bees around it, which was just like, if you'd have done that 2 days before, we wouldn't have been able to get into the truck. So something turned on, and a lot has to do with the sunshine too. So we started getting a lot more sunshine, and that nectar flows when the sun's out. So I think that's it. But we're seeing a little something. But
yeah, we had
still got to be careful.
A couple of days after we did those splits, we had a couple of pretty chilly days where they probably didn't fly much, and then we had like 2 or 3 days of rain, nothing but rain. And so really they were stuck in those hives they weren't doing a whole lot there for a few days. But then Sunday the sun came out; it was beautiful. Saturday afternoon actually that happened, and that's when I went actually that we had to get a car. So we were in the middle of wheeling and dealing trying to get a car. We finally did get one. We ended up getting that thing Saturday morning. It took until about noon. And so I had planned on running over there, getting the car, coming back and being in my bees or doing stuff by, noon. But we just were still over there in Enterprise at noon. And so I didn't really get started until late afternoon. So all I really did was went down and got the feed from Tyler and then drove over, and I think I did Slocum, and that was it on Saturday afternoon. And so I had to, actually, I don't like to do stuff on Sunday, but Sunday afternoon I just hooked up the trailer and went ahead and fed the rest of them. I had to get it done. So, and my problem was too, Saturday afternoon, I didn't have gas. Greg, I remember you asking me if I had gas, and I didn't. Well, I ran out of gas in Slocum. I had used it to fill up I actually had filled up all the frame feeders and the nukes. I guess it was Saturday afternoon. Then I ran down and, whatever day it was, Friday, Saturday, I can't remember what day it was, but whatever day it was, I did that. Then I ran down to Tyler's place and got the food, and I had just gotten all the buckets of Slocum filled, and I was about to fill the open feeding tote there, and they ran out of gas for my pump. So I just dropped the trailer, and I really felt like I needed to get them fed. So I actually went out and mainly all I did Sunday evening was filled up all the open feeders. I just drove around and did that. So it took a while because I got so much driving to do, but it wasn't anything physical. I hate to do stuff on Sunday if I can help it, but I did need to do that because I didn't want them to go all week without food. So,
well, one thing to mention about that bloom too is the yellow jasmine that we get here.
You got it? Do you have it down there?
It's getting worse and worse. And I'm gonna tell you what, that stuff is so bad. It's got strychnine in it. That's what's in the nectar. And last year we saw mounds of dead bees when there wasn't anything else coming in. Or it was the year before. Anyway, last year we did see a lot of bees, just mounds of them on the bottom boards, and it's just a terrible stuff. And as long as you got nectar coming, it doesn't seem to do anything. But it has killed our queens before when we did sales March 1st. They fed them if you don't have syrup on those colonies to try and flush it, and it is nasty stuff. So that's what we're seeing a lot of blooming. It's
everywhere around here too.
Discouraging to watch it and see it bloom.
How much does having feed on really? So if it's a decent enough of a flow, I mean, most times here, if you've got a bucket on a colony and a flow kicks on, I mean, the bucket sits and they're bringing whatever the flow is. Is it just a very light flow that comes in and they'll take feed and that? Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, that's what'll happen here. It's like, and that's why I hear the comment. I tell people to stay off a forum so bad because I hear the commenters going. I heard a guy, he was from here. He's a big beekeeper, and he goes, just feed them. They're like livestock. To keep feed on them all the time. If they don't need it, they won't take it. I'm like, okay, in the South, man, in March, you can put feed on, and there could be clover everywhere, and they're going to drink that feed down and hit that clover because it's a very, very small flow, but it's enough to kick the queen off, but it's not enough to keep them off the sugar syrup. So you'll get both. Now they'll slow down on the sugar syrup. But like with the Carolina jasmine, you'll have sugar syrup on your colonies, and you can go look at them, and they're all over that stuff. And it's like, oh my gosh. So I like to flush that on my queen builders and just flush it out.
Especially when those flows are, it's not, the sun doesn't come up and the flow's on until the sun goes down. There's times of the day where everything's cooperating and the plants are pushing and pumping and the nectar is available. So that makes sense. You might have from, sun up until 10 o'clock in the morning and then, 3 o'clock until dark where the plants aren't pushing and then they would be feeding and flushing. That makes sense.
That's right. That's how it works. Exactly how it works from what I can tell, because you'll dump a bucket quick. Now April may be a different ball game. You can throw syrup out and they won't touch it. But not in March.
Yeah, I think we have very similar stuff going on. Maybe a week or two different, but it's pretty close because we got we noticed the first yellow jasmine when we were driving down that day after you left, Mike, and I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe that's why the bees are mean. There's yellow. We noticed some right there. I was like, oh my gosh, it's bloomed out, and I had not noticed it before then. So I think it was blooming out right as you were down here a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I was the mad lopper the other day, man. I got my loppers and I'm running through the woods with a bee
I
suit.
hate them.
I know the neighbor was looking at me going, what is this guy doing? And I'm deep in the weeds, man, with this lopper, and I'm in a bee suit and bees are buzzing everywhere. And I'm chopping it. I'm killing every one I got, you know?
Yeah, that's nasty.
Yeah. Well,
how about you guys up north? What's going on up there?
I'll show you what I did today.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That. Look at that.
Look at that. You get a bucket. You get a bucket.
You get a bucket.
You get a bucket. You get a bucket.
Oh, but they don't get a bucket. That little one didn't get a bucket.
That one's dead out.
Yeah,
the frames were so
yeah.
The frames were so tight in that thing that I tried getting a frame out just to get, clean it up, and busted off one of the top rails. And I'm like, yeah, I'll get it another day. So
looks like you're dominating with double deeps there, buddy.
No, those are story and halves. I just have, so there is, see, there's a shim.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
See, there's shims on them all.
How the story and a half do for you?
I mean, they're doing
fat
good.
And happy, it looks like, huh?
Oh yeah, they're doing good. I've only got one double deep, and it's that one in the very back.
Okay, that's what I was. Yeah,
left.
from my screen, that's what I was seeing.
Yeah, but all the other ones, I mean, they're good. And then I'm gonna zoom in. Look at that purdy one right there.
Look at the green grass is what I'm looking at.
Well,
it's greener than ours.
It's not quite there just yet, but yeah, and notice though, everything is all lined up and stickers are the same way, so. But yeah, no, I was excited to get over there.
Your rackets are even tied the same way, and your tails are tied on the same side.
I do that. Yes. Yeah.
I'm type A. I like it, Brian. I like it. I'm a type A guy.
Ship shape.
Yeah. No, for the next week up here, our low is going to be 40. So when I saw that, I'm like, yep, they're getting buckets.
Yeah, you're in bucket season.
Next Wednesday night going into Thursday, it's going to dip down to like 30. I'll just go over Wednesday, before we go live next week. And I don't even want to see
85. Boy, my northern huskiness would be sweating, be pouring water down there at 85.
So, man.
Woo. You worked on a trailer with me in 90-degree weather in a black shirt.
But at least we had hot metal shavings flying all over the place to really cool things down.
Brutal.
Oh, what a good time that was. Oh man. Wow.
Crazy.
Oh, well. That's funny.
Yeah,
I remember that, Mike.
I've got the syrup will be on a week. They've got pollen patties. And actually, when I went over, it's been about 2 weeks ago now, I put those small pieces of pollen patties on, and over half of them, it was completely gone. So they wiped it out. So I replenished all the pollen, and I put the open feed station, that syrup that I had out there. I would maybe guess there's 2 or so gallons left in that thing is all. They've about tapped that thing out, and I put some dry pollen out also today up in the yard. So I'm going to beef them this year and grow them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to hear nothing from that gallery down there. And
all right,
no,
you got to pay attention to that top box and let us know what your thoughts are on a story and a half now that you're flirting with nukes, because I want the feedback to see if all those jokers are up in the supers brooding up, and now you're wanting to cut them back, and you got to flip flop and rain dance them and everything else.
I dealt with it a little bit last year. All that I would do is I would let them brood up so much, and then I would say, okay, you're done with this. And I'd slap an excluder on there and make sure the queen was down in the bottom. And that was that. And that first box that's on there, though, I will never pull that box. That's always out there. It's just sometimes of the year, like right now, they're story and a half. And then once my excluder goes on, then they're single brood for the rest of the year up until, in the fall, once I pull supers in the fall. So
do you think you'll continue to go story and a half? Or do you think story and a half is an interim growth thing while you're building up your numbers? You can get them into a story and a half. Will you ever go to double deep so you'll have more resources to pull from in the spring? Boy, you're pretty sure of yourself there.
Okay. I tell you, I like how the story and a halves, I like working them. It's just so easy for me when I go over there and I want to check anything brood wise. I know, of course, I'd need to lift one super. Now, if there's others on, of course, I lift those, but lifting mediums is nothing. I know then my queen is down in that one deep. And I go down in there, and once they're adjusted to it, and I didn't have any problems last year, I know exactly where to look, and it's quick. I hate messing with double deeps just because, then you're looking at 20 frames potentially if you need to do a deep dive. With the single, I'm straight down in there, and there's times with those singles I'll see the queen on the outer edge, the outer frame. I'll pull an outer frame, I lift it up, there she is, there's eggs, larvae, and I'm like, well, okay, put it back down in there real carefully, and I'm like, that's that. So no, I like it. I mean, and to somewhat get Mike up to speed here, because I know he's probably saying, I'm going to have 30 colonies or whatever it is this year. It's going to be 15 production. And then I'm going to have a couple nukes off to the side just as backups. If I have colonies that kind of lag behind, I'll just yank brood, beef up my production colonies. Sure. That's going to be that. So, sure. But
that sounds like a plan, right? Just like that nuke that was a resource nuke that I put in the video this week and had to throw it in a double now because it's in a double deep. It's going to make honey this year. But, that's how it all goes. That's what we say. But what I do is they have this feature on YouTube that you can save a video. And what I'm going to do is check that save mark at the end of the season when you're going into winter. I'll replay it for you. I'll actually come back to this part, though, and play that for you.
Yeah, but what I know
last words, I'm going to have a few nukes as resources. What are you going to happen if you don't need the nukes? And then all of a sudden guess what? They got to go into a deep. Well, guess what? Now you got to get them in the winter. I got 30 hives.
What Mike is going to do is he's going to scroll back about 4 years. And he's going to
happy number
go to a live or whatever, and he's going to say, see there, you said 4 was good, 6 was good.
You see how that works, and each year. So now it's just a nukes for resources, but and that's all good. I'm not one to say I told you so a lot, just now and again.
See, right. Yeah.
Well, if you keep them alive, you have to do something with them.
Exactly.
I mean, they grow. You got to either put them in a big box or sell them or make splits or something.
Right. You got to do something with them. So
if you become a good beekeeper, not just a beekeeper, then you have that issue, which is a good problem to have, but that's what you run into.
Demaray. There's 12 hives over there that are good. I need to I'm going to pull 5 splits off. So I'll refill 3 spots. So that'll take it to 15 production. Those, I'm going to end up having to pull from a little bit of this, that, and everybody. That way they'll just be beefed up because I want pretty solid splits very early. And the 2, I'm going to set up a resource colony off to the side. I've got that double nuke set up. And then other than that, the other 7 that I have, I'm going to demaray. I don't want to grow in numbers. I'm going to demaray. I want to grow my honey harvest is what I want to do. So I want to be like Keith there that's pulling, 20-some thousand.
He just didn't stop. He just kept pulling and kept putting on.
Yeah.
It's funny up there in North Carolina. I was talking to Jody from Taylor Boy Outdoors, telling him how it's just crazy in North Carolina. They actually pull honey before us. They start the same time we do, and they're like it's like a 13-hour drive up there. Yet they start the same time we do, and they actually harvest sooner than us. And the way Keith does that, man, he just starts supering up, man, and next thing you know, he's just pulling honey left and right. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Greg, that's one of those nukes we pulled. That was a weekend. So what do you think that's going to look like in 2 weeks?
Golly, that needs to be sold now.
Looks like you need to pull that frame feeder out of there.
I'm going to pull it out this weekend and put the new frame right there by the frame feeder. Didn't have much on it, so I'm gonna pull that. What I think I'll do is pull the frame feeder out and move the frames that are drawn to the outside and put the two newer ones, kind of stagger them, checkerboard them in there, and I think they'll draw them out quicker that way. But yeah, I think we made those almost too strong.
Nah, there's no such thing as too strong. Not like that, because what I would think about is look at your flow. If you got a flow coming in, if something going on, then pull the frame feeder, drop you another blank frame in there, and then because I think if a lot of those nukes are leaving the yard, what you can do is if they're too fat, you can shake some bees if you're worried about them being too fat. I know where these are going. They're going to go into big boxes, so it doesn't matter. If they were going down the road and you were worried about it being too fat, you can go through them all and balance each other out. And if they're still too fat and you've got too many bees, well, right there in the yards, other colonies, you could move some bees too, or shake some of those bees onto the ground, put a couple nuke boxes in the general area with some frames and some food, let them repopulate those too. There's a million things you could do, but I wanted to draw this. That's the big benefit of being able to move brood from one yard to a completely new location, is you get to keep that many bees.
Yeah, and these we put on average 2 good solid frames of brood. Actually, some of them were just sheets of brood, and we put a frame of food and then an empty frame in there, and I fed them.
And a couple shakes.
And you can see that was, I don't know. I'm going to try and send Brian a picture of
2 shakes, 2 frames, right? That's a
and then we shook a little bit in there too. So it was pretty crazy.
I just want to stare at that beautifulness, Brian. Can you put that back there? I just want to keep staring at this.
Beautiful bees. Seeing that frame feeder in that thing.
What's that?
Seeing a frame feeder and a pro nuke is interesting.
Well, there's 4 frames in there, and my buddy Tyler Walker, he's the one that suggested we do it that way, and it worked perfectly, actually.
Yeah, that's neat.
I'm waiting.
Well, if you got one empty frame and you got room for another frame, you got room for it. But man, I tell you what, when I see those in April like that, man, they're on the web going, hey, come get them, somebody now, or they're going in a 10 frame.
Yeah, they won't be long till they'll be in 10 frames.
That outside frame
I've got 20 of them.
Outside frames, Bruce?
What's that?
Are they drawing comb on that outside fresh frame yet?
The fresh frame is by the feeder. That's why I was saying they're not drawing them out great. Some of them are better than others.
So the feed there, they're probably just subsisting.
They're drawing it out. They're drawing it out on the side next to the on the side next to the brood, not the side next to the feeder. The side next to the feeder is completely.
You've got time, yeah, because that needs to be drawn out completely, and then you need a fresh frame in there that they're working on for that to be. But for the frames to be far enough down the road and established to go down the road to somebody else. But I mean, they're almost the frame feeder's gone. Good timing on that though, right? Because they use that gallon of feed to kind of subsist on. The brood obviously was hatching out of the frames. The queen's out and laying. So in 2 more weeks, that thing will that has to be going down the road in 2 weeks, or that thing will be boiling over for sure.
Yeah, well, I think it'll help them explode into the new frames in the new colonies. Here's one of the frames, Brian. This is where I saw a lot of these. I just sent you one.
Is that
next one?
Look right there on there.
I don't think that's the queen, because I think she was.
That's a one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater.
See? Oh, I got another one. Okay.
Yeah, this one right here coming up is one that is showing kind of what, even after a week, and I'm sure some brood had emerged, but even after a week, this next frame is what I saw a lot of still in these colonies a week later. And so they're about to be just almost, like you say, Greg. I actually did do some mixing and matching on one of my splits I made in the yard that was a little weak. I went ahead and I saw a lot of that in these nukes, bees brood that had not yet emerged. And so, we're gonna they're going to be full. They're already full. But this week I think I'm going to take the frame feeders out, put another empty frame in there and let them go ahead and fill that out, and then they'll be ready to go pretty quickly.
Especially if you got
Bruce,
a flow on.
I got a question for you about those bees, like that we looked at down there in where we were
Slocum.
at by that
Slocum.
lake, Slocum. Yeah, I couldn't think
Slocum,
of it. The so you guys are always at least a couple weeks ahead of us, sometimes 3 weeks ahead of us. I understand that. I honestly believe it's got to be something to do with the Gulf being close by. I don't know, because my friend's the same way in further east of you. But you obviously started feeding early. When did you start open feeding in your totes?
Oh,
what day of the month?
And I don't know exactly. What I did was I fed them fondant throughout the winter. I fed them 2 rounds of fondant, and then a 3rd round on the ones that were light. And I about a week before I pulled the splits, I went out there. I did a video on it, and I had some bee bites, like the big blocks from Strong Microbial, and I just cut chunks off and put it in there. And I think that's when I actually put the open feed out. So it was like a week before, just to kind of stimulate them. Yeah, like a week. So it was a week amazing. Or maybe 2 at the most. Yeah.
That was already amazing to see how much that was, how big those hives, those colonies were huge. that blew me away. Like,
yeah, that's fine. Well, I think it's a
combination. All the way home, we talked about that.
I think it's a combination. I'm going to say this, and a lot of people here in the South, especially, will they might do the big eyes emoji, like this, like, what are you doing? But I was having mite issues, and I was worried about it. And Greg will tell you, I was just really concerned about it. I tried the Roxanne last year. I don't know if I'll ever use Roxanne again. I'm never say never, but I don't think I will, because it just didn't keep them down. I had mite problems, and most of my colonies, there were a few that didn't have many, but most of them have mite problems. So I got Formic from Greg in November, treated him in November with that, and it absolutely annihilated the mites. And I think that's a part of it too. I try to get him as clean as possible. Now, I didn't put it and Greg is going to do a video talking about, I'm sure in the future, talking about what he's doing with his study. But so those are the ones. I didn't treat all the ones that Greg sent me for his study, but all my bees that I had there pretty much, and even some of those I treated with that Formic, and it absolutely annihilated the mites. And I did lose a few colonies from that, but they were weak anyway. They were probably on their way out anyway, maybe weak queens or just weak colonies. And after I did that, it's like they just turned it around, and they've been pretty strong all winter. But boy, they just turned it on. Late December, early January, they turned it on, and you saw what the results are. And I started putting the Hive Alive in. I did 2 rounds, probably late December. It was before the conference, I think. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, I put another round in. And then, like I say, I went back out the ones that were light still. I put another round in, and then I fed them, open fed them, and put that little chunk of. Down here, I'm not going to put a lot of pollen sub in them because of the hive beetles, but I made it like I took chunks that were kind of skinny and long, and I smashed it so it went down between the frames, kind of. Mm-hmm. Mike, you kind of talked about that principle as well. Half the bees can get to it and eat it. The beetles don't have a chance to set up shop. Plus, I think John Turpin told me that the goal with their bee bites is that they've got something in them to kind of help the beetles aren't that interested in them. I don't know that. They ate them up so fast. I just put little chunks in there. It was completely gone when we went into those splits. And so,
well, I was curious because how they did, but I do believe the Hive Alive, being that it's inverted sugar and it can be taken, the fondant Hive Alive, that it can be taken immediately. After watching David Peck talk about how those bees have to break down that granulated sugar, I really think that probably had a lot to do too with the fact in January that they were eating nutrient, like literally feeding, that had to boost that queen, because while you guys are ahead of us, that was like a month's worth of aheadness, if you want to call it.
Well, now keep in mind too, most of these bees are the Italian Cordovans as well, that vine. And so they might be, they just never brood completely down, and they just produce brood like crazy. So, the variety of bees, you mentioned your Russians, they're not going to look like that because they breed back. But
I don't worry about those.
But Italians, and especially Italian Cordovans, are just breed factories. And that's what a lot of these are. Now, they're not all that. I still think I do still have some of my Alabama stock in there, but most of them are at least, partially probably the Italian, because I've had them now for a couple of years, so I'm sure some of the queens have replaced and remated with some of the drones from different colonies. But it's they're impressive, and every year I marvel at them. But I think the past couple of years they've been more consistently strong. I think the Hive Alive has probably been the biggest thing I've done differently I used to put it on there as an emergency feed because it was expensive. If I had one that was starving or whatever, I put it on there.
Right,
But now,
like
2 years ago, I went all in and I just started putting it on everything, and I think it does definitely make a difference.
Well, I thought about that when you did that and thought, I want to maybe try that at the same time. I believe in this stuff. I mean, I've used it for years since they come out with it now. But
it's a lot of money, though.
You and I are going to have to talk offline on the Formic because I've been wanting to get on the Formic and I just haven't, and I need to. And we'll talk one day. I'll call you next end of the season. We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
Because I can call Greg and talk about it, but he also lives in Ohio, and I need to talk to somebody with our same temps.
Yep. That'll be good. I may repeat it again this year because it works so well. And you hate to do it because you are going to probably lose a couple of queens or a couple of colonies. But the way I looked at it, they were colonies that were on their way out anyway. I didn't lose any strong ones that I know of. They were all the little puny ones that were probably on their way out anyway.
I heard a guy
say
that about queens one time. There's this guy from Ohio said one time about you probably the ones you lose. Where's he? Near Zanesville somewhere. New Hope, maybe something like that. But he said something about you probably the queens you lose are probably inferior queens anyway. So get over it.
Compromise. We got back from the West Virginia Bee Fair Spring Summit from this past weekend. That was a lot of fun. Tom Nolan from, of course, Not Apiaries was kind of a visiting salesman in our booth to talk to folks about Formic. Mike, I'm pretty sure, if I'm mistaken, then I'm sorry, but I think me and you were actually talking about this, and Tom brought it up again. But sometimes those losses that we see to Formic, Formic is the catalyst. But if you think about colonies that are already overran with mites, there's viruses going on, and that can weaken them. We talked about kind of the work that Zach Lamasse was doing, where within 48 hours these virgins are being attacked by mites, being injected with these viruses that can lay dormant asymptomatically and also lay dormant in their brood until they're stressed and these things are exposed. But the big thing to consider is if you've got queens that are sometimes either reared and raised in a high mite pressure area, or they develop high mite pressure, they have all these punctures and wounds from the mites that when they're exposed to Formic, that's the thing that actually gets them, because their exoskeleton, they're already biologically compromised. So it's something you got to consider too, is if where the queens are coming from, the bees aren't in a healthy scenario, or those queens are already compromised with their exoskeleton, their biological system. Formic and other things can just be literally the last straw that broke the camel back. But it's interesting to think about, because we see, Formic can sometimes be problematic. But if we think about, well, why is it problematic? It's not so much the Formic is the issue. It's these situations where we're already nearly doomed to start with, and it's a matter of time before they kind of get there. I can remember back in those Florida beekeeper videos from Bob, and him and I were cruising around Florida, and I was shooting all the video with him for it. I can't remember if it ended up in the footage or not. Like, my memory of those trips, or like, I've got all the experience, but I don't know what made it to videos. But I remember Chris Warner talking about how they would mix up a kind of a tea tree concoction and put them on blue towels and put those in the colonies after treatments to help soothe the exoskeletons. And they were finding that would help tremendously, would just kind of rejuvenate what's going on with the honeybees there. So that's something that I'm going to try to keep close, not in the back of my mind, but keep it a little closer in the forefront here as we try to figure out all these different reactions with these things. But I think Formic, I'm trying to figure out, and this is why not that I was grilling Brian about story and a halves, but the more that I'm looking at our projected path with our bees, what our intended use and purpose is with them, you're probably going to see me just completely shuck all of the medium boxes off and out of the outfit completely, with exception to a dedicated flow, and put them on, just because it ends up being this little bit of a wild card in between things. And when I'm out looking, walking down the ridge, taking a look at the colonies here in the home yard, having everything just it drives me crazy. There's colonies that have 3 supers on, 1 deep, 2 deeps, 3 deeps. It is just a nightmare because, you know, we take care of all of our customers. We get all the stuff gone and done there. And then I'm left with the scraps. And so the colonies are just getting the boxes that they can kind of grow into. And then you think they're going to do this and do that. And it's just all this back and forth. But as I'm thinking about treatments and going in afterwards, maybe with, you know, something like a tea tree towel, I'm thinking about having consistent results. If we're going to spend the money and the time and the effort to put the treatment on and do all these things, like, it's not just about the treatment. It's about the configuration of the colonies and the size of the colonies and getting everything as consistent as possible. And so for me, I'm thinking, man, if I can do it, I think I'm going to completely get away from storing a halves and go double deeps, and just have mediums on top for a flow if we can get it. And if not, get them things off before goldenrod comes in, let them get filled out and fat on doubles. So my use of those colonies are more predictable in the spring. I guess, you know, in no way, shape, or form in my, I feel like the only thing I'm an expert in is not being an expert in anything. But what I do know is I'm getting tired of chasing my tail. And so if I can tighten things up even more so in the yard, I think that would help being more consistent with all those things.
You can't measure something if you've got inconsistency. You can't. You're shooting in the dark at that point. And I did that years back. I did this and that. So you'll see me in the winter, which I didn't experiment this year with some brood supers, which failed miserably in my opinion. But you know, I've always said I got to that point. Maybe it's type A in me does it too. But I'm either going in with doubles, or if there was a hive that had fallen behind and it's coming back to life for a winter, it'll be in a single. That's it. There's no other, like, I know, and I love to do singles, but down south it's just so long of a season. It's hard to get them going with the single, but it's so you can, and I'm not saying you can't, but for me it's too much work. But to know, you know, just like you said, I know what I'm doing with that double, and now I can, when I have a problem, I can see if it was configured the same way as the rest of them, and I know I can see a trend. In other words, you can't see a trend if you've got boxes stacked all over the place.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, you don't know what you're doing with them. But the acids have proven to be the thing. You know, whether it's oxalic acid at its level where it needs to be. All right, how it needs to be applied and when it needs to be applied, and for what it does, it's got a great kill rate. You know, if you got a package and you hit it, you know, you're going to kill them all. And that Formic, that's the other one. And I think just rolling in with doubles in the south, doing a half a dose or 1 patty or whatever. I think Bruce, from the guy who was down with you, he was showing you that. I really want to. I've just seen too many people say that Formic works great, and I can't pinpoint anything that is working great right now in mine, and all my stuff's the same and consistent, and I do it consistently the same way every time. And yet I go into one the other day, and and not that this is a precise way to find your mite load, but when you bust open those drones and there's mites everywhere, and then you bust open the drones and the one right next to the double deep with the same similar population, the same configuration, same amount of honey, and it's got not a one in the drone brood, you're like, what is that?
What is going on here? Yeah.
Right. I got to get something. And I've done consistent treatment type stuff, but never, you know, I just don't see a consistent result. Maybe you never will. I don't know.
It's a head scratcher. We don't want to go down this road tonight with this, but, and I'll just be brief with this because Brian wasn't there, but just the things that we were seeing with the blue dot queens and the pink dot queens, that in and of itself is just another one of those wild cards where it's like, okay, what really do we know about anything? Like, what really do we know? We can know. You take 6 beekeepers and you go through a yard and you say, okay, guys, which of these colonies do you want in your yard? Which would you buy, or which would you say is a growing asset? That was a very clear and a no-brainer. But how we get to that point, I guess every year we say it, but bees are the greatest humbler I think I've ever known. Every year, the bees, thank God, you know, maybe as beekeepers, we're just born prideful, egotistical, arrogant, cocky men. And that's why we're beekeepers, to always keep us humble, because they're doing that, and they're doing a very good job. But yeah, that consistency seems to be the name of the game. The only thing that I'm worried about is I slept wrong one night. I mean, literally at this conference, I slept wrong. I woke up and my neck's like this and my shoulders like this, and I can't do anything. And I'm walking around, and it's taken like 4 days to try even to begin to loosen up. And so I'm thinking, all it takes, man, is lugging around one of those 90-pound deeps, or even if it's only 70 pounds, you know, one bad move here, you know, on a hillside or somewhere else, and it's like, and I'm 43, guys. What's going to happen on 53 or 63? You know, it's not going to be me probably lugging the boxes around. So I think for now, for my next 10-year picture, I'm thinking double deeps, create some consistency, create some efficiency, create some sustainability and some profitability, and then sell everything off and go to 8-frame mediums and do it for fun.
Hey, yeah, when you say consistency, man, that's the only thing about beekeeping that's consistent is the inconsistency. I think when you talk about, I think that's one reason it feels like we're always chasing the moving goalposts, because, you know, we adapt and we think we have something that works, and then, you know, there's a new virus, there's new viruses, there's the mites figure out something. It's just, you know, and then there's a new pest, and there's a new something, there's a this and a that, and you know, I don't know. It's just, I know that, you know, ultimately it would be awesome if, you know, the treatment free, if that could work out, you know, and I know some people are really working hard on that, but I just can't do that at this point. So it feels like we're always trying to chase, you know, a solution, because as soon as something works, it doesn't work anymore. If that makes sense. So you're always having to adapt. And that's one of the things that's kind of cool and challenging about beekeeping, but it's also very discouraging and frustrating at times.
This is from Brian Lee. This is his pond work.
I'm done with Brian.
What is that? I want to see what that rig. What is that rig?
Like, Brian knew what that was doing. Like, he was going to be out there doing that with that guy. Come on.
Yeah, he probably was on his track.
Sir, yeah, you missed a spot over there. What are you going to be doing, sir? I think it looks like 4 feet down to your left. There's 3 clods of
but
junky funkiness going down.
Look right there. It looks like he dug up something that Brian didn't want dug up.
Oh,
you see that? Right there. You see it?
This is turning into one. You guys ever seen that? I have no idea what it's called. There's this show where it's like these divers, and they like find, you know, corpses and trucks and stuff, and like loading or not loading docks, like marina docks and things. Like this could quickly turn into one of those if Brian doesn't watch out.
Yep. You see? Yeah, that looks like a heck of a darn machine there, whatever.
Right now, Brian Lee is either laughing or he's
sweating, laughing or sweating.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brian.
Here we go. I got to share this for you, though, Greg.
Uh-oh. Look at that.
How many is that?
So
I just gotta know. Do you know how many that is?
623 and a half, I think.
Oh, it's not either. How many is it?
I don't know.
Tom, put how many that was in there.
Probably, I think we sent them 40 or 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then it goes probably 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You don't
8,
have to
9,
count. Don't count.
10. The bottom row is 10, guys. And then it goes to 9. There's somebody smarter who knows math.
I'm sure that 60. He says 60. He says 60. He says 60.
Oh, there was 60.
Is that right? Now I gotta do the math here. I'm dumb. So 10 plus 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 equals.
There's like 4 on the side though.
Let's say 55.
Yeah, he's got 5 sitting on the side.
Yeah,
55 plus 5, 60.
Yeah,
in plain sight. 55 stacked up with that sacred geometry. Look at that. Tom never knew he was going to be a part
RTX Honeybee said height times length divided by 2.
Height times length.
So I guess you go 10 times
1, 2, 3, 10 buckets.
Oh yeah, to do a triangle. That's how you do a triangle.
6, 7, 8, 9,
There's
10.
10 up, 10 across.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway.
no, that would be off of here.
Isn't it 1 foot this way, 3 foot the other, and 5 foot across?
Nah, he's an engineer, man. He knows that stuff.
All right. Anyway.
No clue. See here? Paul got it right here. That's on your bucket list.
That's good, Paul. That was good. That was good.
That's real quick. Yeah. Well, look at this. 53 minutes in, and what have we spoken about?
Why 55 does not seem like that would be a triangulated interval, but that's why I'm not a mathematician. Doesn't that seem weird to you, 55 being in a triangle? I was thinking I don't know. What was I thinking?
Todd says the answer is 311. The answer might be, hang on, are you guys ready? Are you ready, Greg?
I don't know how ready I could get for this, but I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
The answer just might be 6, 7.
Oh, Mike doesn't even get it.
No, because I'm
Well, Bruce knows that he's just not playing along. Thanks, Bruce.
Right.
Leaving us hanging.
Just it back. He knew right where I was going.
There it is. Like, there it is. Now Mike's the only one doesn't.
Come on, Mike.
Mike, are you ever around kids at all? Do you know? Have you heard 6, 7?
I stay away from them if I can. I got PTSD.
If you ever go up,
raising 2.
This is how unfunny viral trends with kids come, is when their dads and their dad's friends talk about it on their Wednesday night bee chat. You know, can't get any lamer than that for middle school kids.
It's not worth knowing about. It's the weirdest thing ever. So don't worry.
Okay, I'm good then. You lost me with the math.
Yeah.
It reminded me of my DOTD bridge building.
Wait a minute, you're like a professional bridge builder. You should know all about square and triangle and
oh my gosh, no, I don't want to know about it.
Mike's like, let's talk about bees, please.
I'll talk about anything but math. I don't care if we talk about bees. Just don't talk about math.
Yeah.
Or kids.
Yeah. Right.
No.
See? So Greg, what's going on down in I guess it's been called all kind of things tonight in New Hope.
Has been called a lot of things.
Hope Haven.
Hopewell and
it will be yeah. Well, there's so much that I would want to say, and there's so much that I could say, but what I can say is that we've been busier with like this is my zone right here. I've been living in this zone like nonstop since the second we got back from Alabama, and which is a huge blessing. So thank you, Lord, for that. Today I got to spend some time numbers and invoices and all those kind of things. And I don't know if we ever said it or not, but did you guys know that the great state of Louisiana, the Mr. Mike Berry himself, Berry's Best Honey, is Louisiana's Endura Hive wax dipped dealer, distributor.
Yeah.
World famous Mike Berry. So if you are in Louisiana or you just want to drive to Louisiana and see Mike, come see Mike for Endura Hive wax dipped equipment. And remember, friends, don't let friends paint bee boxes. And you're
not for long though, Greg, because I might have to give you a call. As soon as I got the invoice, I looked and said, I'm getting ready to have to send you another email for another pallet. So good problem. Don't get me wrong, but you're right about friends don't let friends paint, because I've got the neighbor kid and I built 8 little nukes, and I'm so bad that I'm going to buy paint. I got him some rollers and brushes, and I'm paying $5 a box to paint those for me. That's how bad I don't want to paint anything anymore. I started throwing wax tip boxes on stands last year, and I'm gonna tell you what, there ain't nothing like walking in that trailer, grabbing that box and heading back out with it going, I'm gonna replace one.
Absolutely. The thought of painting boxes makes me want to throw up. I just don't want to do it ever again.
You know,
I wouldn't
the
want to
number one
assemble
thing,
them.
or any of that, and to get it wax dipped right, of course, it has to be assembled. One of the biggest things that folks never consider is they say, "Oh, okay, I can buy a cheap, like up here, you can buy a cheap Amish woodenware, no big deal. It's probably most parts of the country, right? But you still have to get it. You still have to put it together, and then once you put it together, you still have to go buy the paint. Now, the first area where you say, "Oof, was that a good idea or not?" is when you're not sure how many gallons of paint you have to buy for X number of boxes. So either you're underbuying or you're overbuying. Then you've got paint left over that's freezing, and the next year you go to get it out and it's all frozen and clumpy, and you just wasted all of that rest of that 5-gallon bucket because you thought you were going to use 5 gallons. If that's not bad enough, just the materials, the crusty rollers and paintbrush that you're supposed to clean that you never did, the frozen paint that you're supposed to put away that you never did, all to paint those 10 or 20 bee boxes, you got a lot of money wrapped up in paint and wasted paint, number one. Number two, the biggest thing that a lot of folks really don't consider, and when you mention this, they say, that kind of makes sense. So great. Let's say you are a mathematician and you can figure out how to triangulate a Soseman bucket pyramid, right? But you get everything just right, and you're so happy with the cost and the labor of the paint, and you put your bees in it. And then in 2 years, you start to say, you know what, that's starting to look pretty bad. I need to rework those boxes. Now tell me, how are you going to get all those bees and the frames and everything out of that box and work the box at the same time? You're not. Now you got to have double the equipment just to fix half of it all the time. You got to have another box to go put those bees in, to take the old box off to rework it. Well, we can eliminate all of that. And that's why I say, friends, don't let friends paint bee boxes. There's a better way. It's a much better investment, return on your investment. And you're not going to get paint all of those brand new pants that your wife just bought you and said, whatever you do, don't get paint on these pants. And you get paint on the pants anyways.
You see what I'm doing in my yard? I've got one more box that's white. And this year, as soon as I start getting out there and can do some work, that box is going to get shifted out. So,
well, when you figure all the, like you say, Greg and Mike, but it's all the time and just the effort. I mean, I painted a lot of boxes. I built a few boxes. I'd tell you another thing I did is I built a bunch of nuke boxes and had a bunch made years ago. And those pro nukes, I'm telling you, those things. And now those things you don't want to let them sit in those all summer, cook in the sun. But just if you're making splits in the spring to sell, or if you for a temporary thing, talking about convenient, my goodness, those things are phenomenal. I've never really used. I used them briefly. I had 10 already. I didn't realize I had that many. And I bought 20 more at the Bee Expo for the sales I have. I had anticipated for this year. Man, talking about an easy way to make splits and move them without having to stuff the entrance, close the entrance, strap them together with, you just snap the lid on and go. It's pretty dang awesome.
I built some wooden ones so that I like where my new yard is, I can split off some nukes I want to sell. I can split them off in that same yard in wooden nukes because there's no shade out there. Mm-hmm. So I built those specifically for that. I want about 20 wooden ones just to do that. But the pro nukes, man, I use those in the shade at home, and they're perfect for reorientation. I mean, the queen can find the entrance. You don't have to paint symbols on the front of your box. They're color coded, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've probably got 30 or 40 or even more of the old wooden ones.
And there's no assembling the jester boxes. Absolutely drives me crazy. I mean, if you want to have really want to know what a good time is, putting together 2 or 3 skids of jester boxes every year for fun. That's like the last thing. And it's like the last thing that we used to put off. And it's like, okay, we really got to get the nukes off. We got to get all these done. And it's a family affair. So here we are 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, folding jester boxes.
The jesters are nice though. They are nice, and they're nice for in the sun down here. They're not terrible in the sun, but I would never want to get 30 of those and put them together. Like, I'd rather you just smack my hand with a hammer. I'd be better off.
Don't they cost almost as much as the Pro Nukes as well?
Yeah,
they are actually, depending on how you buy them. Most of the time, they're more expensive. They're a little bit more friendly in direct heat for sure, absolutely. You can throw a bucket right on top of a jester box.
Sure.
You know, you can pop the little center part, put a bucket on it, and you're good to go. But what I found is we only get maybe 2 seasons at the very most, and if we're just using them to throw stuff in here or throw stuff out. But I don't know. I really like to be able to just quickly throw the entrances on, the frame rests on, slap the Pro Nuke lid on, and then go down the road. And you know, I really don't.
They worked so well a couple of weeks ago for us. They were just. I was
wasn't that
amazed
nice?
how good that went. It was so.
Well,
nice.
they do have one downfall besides the heat, and this is the downfall. If you're looking through your hives and you find swarm cells, swarm cells won't fit. Like if they're on the bottom of the frame,
you're right.
They won't fit. Where on a jester, they will.
You're right.
So there's pros and cons to everything, obviously.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, hands down, when you're getting them on sale for $14, you know, you almost can't beat that Pro Nuke.
Yeah.
And I don't keep them. Like I build a nuke in it, and then it gets the door shut. I run a staple through it because those doors can pop up. I run a staple through that entrance door, and I hand that to the customer. And they're like, deposit, bring anything back? No, keep it. I'm done. I got it for $14. I'm thinking in my head, you take the nuke, you're out the door. I don't have to fool with frames. I'm done. It's gone.
They don't leak the jesters. They can and will leak bees.
They will.
The Pro Nukes, like you said, when you especially when you get the hang of them and you get the entrance locked down, like square and down, it goes in. And if you don't get it all the way down at a little bit of an angle, there'll be a little bit of that little spot on the side there, and you'll get some rambunctious bees that will try to squeeze through that side, and they can come out. But when you get that thing squared up and then locked down, I mean, you are in there.
Well,
and they're very well ventilated.
The reason I staple the one end, I don't staple both. I staple the one end that was open, because when it is open, it does take just a nudge, because it's been like bent, you know, out a little bit. Yep. So when you push it in and get it squared and lock that little tab in, it will usually hold. But if they nudge it, it pops out real quick.
Yep.
So I just run a staple down the bottom through that one. And I tell the customer, hey, just pop that staple out. And you can use, I tell them, you can use this to make your nukes and put it in the shade, and you got a little box now. But yeah, I like them because I just hand them to the customer. They don't leak. I mean, unless you grab them by the sides. If you grab them by the handles and check the bees first and grab them properly, you throw them in the back of the car with you. There's not bees coming out of that. Yeah, I love them.
The problem I don't see myself ever having.
Well, Mr. Brian Coper, but Mr. Vice President Brian Coper, you say that, but
Brian
we're talking about 15 couple nukes on the side. He's going to say, you know, someone's going to say, Brian, I really want your genetics. I want your genetics more than I want Bruce's or Mike's or Greg's. Brian, I want your genetics, and I want them in a nuke box. Can you sell me 5 nukes?
Okay,
for $275 a piece.
This don't make no sense. He's saying he ain't growing, but he ain't selling. But
what's he doing with these bees?
Yeah, like where are they going?
Go
they
somewhere,
just disappearing in thin air. I mean, not growing. They're not going to sell them.
Trees.
I'm not done with you.
Brian used the word.
If you love something, let it free.
He cut me off though.
If it comes back, it was meant to be. Is that how that goes?
He used the word never. That you never say never, Brian.
You never say never.
All right, now Bruce,
never initiate humility pie pretty quickly.
Don't you be cursing me like that.
Vanilla ice cream.
I'm going to change the subject here on you guys. See, how do you like this? You know, just
this is Brian's chat, and we've just come out. We've just totally
change it up real quick here. So, and this is here. So you see what I'm going to do here, Mr. Burns? There, this is a plug. It's plug, and even Paul said it's plug. So Bruce and Mike, I guess this is for the Southern guys. Do those Endura Hive wax dip boxes even do well here in the soggy, wet South? Oh,
I know my lids turn different colors, and they scared me at first, but I went out and threw some water on them to check them, and they're still holding their wax. Now I do have something interesting on a box I found today. I dug my hive tool in too deep, and I knocked a corner off of a box. All my fault. Nothing, you know, any box. It doesn't matter whether it was this box or not. So I knocked about 2 inches off, and I'm curious to see now, like how deep did the wax go when it cooked? It should be it's only maybe an eighth of an inch of a piece of wood that came off. It felt waxy still inside, so it should be waxy. So this is going to be a cool experiment to watch it, because that's where your painted boxes, like, and I'm not knocking the painted boxes. Look, you want to have 2 or 3 and you want to paint them, and that's your hobby and that's your therapy. I say knock yourself out.
Sure.
But man, I know I got so many entrances in my hives these days from stuff like that, from the Hive tool, and they will literally rot. When you expose that wood, in 2 years, you got a new entrance. I mean, if you like ventilation, hey, it's all good. But you know, I'm going to watch this box carefully. And
my bees are well ventilated in the past. Now, I'm trying to eliminate some of that, but they like it just fine. In summertime, when they're all full of bees with the honey super stacked up, it's kind of funny going through my bee yards. You got bees kind of looking out all kinds of different angles, but that's going to change.
I didn't know, like, you know, sometimes it's all about asking the right question, and sometimes it's all about not asking any questions at all, especially when you're in somebody else's bee yard. And so we're going through with Bruce, and it's like, okay, we've got a mission. Here's exactly what we're doing. We're bringing some extra boxes out there, and it's like, it's not for me to make the call on whether or not it's the lifespan of a box has been met today. But you know, there are some opportunities in the future for sure, for Bruce. And until then, some boxes we're going to stay a little bit more ventilated, but he's throwing a bunch of resources at getting skids of boxes, and he's getting a lot of them replaced. But yeah, one thing that's worth mentioning is, I'll have to do some more studies on it, but when you think about heat treating wood, and the temperatures that are in place when you're wax dipping, there is something that does happen with the wood fibers themselves. And you probably wouldn't have the opportunity, but if you kind of feel the hardness of a pine bee box before dipping and then after dipping when it's cool, you'll actually, there is a little bit of a change there as well. And so they will get a little bit tougher, which I think is pretty interesting. That's not going to prevent you from digging hive tools and tearing things out if those things happen, especially with the what in the world was that? There's all kind of new like fancy cats that have shown up out of the middle of nowhere. This black thing ran across out front, and it looked like a I don't know what, I thought it was a black fox that was fat and squatted to the ground with long hair. I'm thinking, what is wrong with that black fox? I'm thinking, black foxes? You don't need black foxes. Anyways, I was being distracted. Brian, this is your chat tonight.
That was like that was like a legitimate squirrel moment.
Yeah, that's funny. I just got it. It took me a minute. I'm slow, but I'm worth waiting for. That was fun.
I tell you what, guys, give me just a minute. I need to check on something. Give me just a minute. I'll be right back.
There he goes. He's checking the squirrel. Are you getting another skid? You getting another pallet of boxes? You?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I already got one. I already got mine. I got
him.
You got one, but are you getting another?
Not this year, probably. It ain't cheap to buy a skid of those things, man.
Yeah.
It's not.
I mean, I can't. I mean, I spend a lot of money, but man, not every year. I can't buy enough to replace all my stuff. So I'm just doing it like a pallet at a time until I got it where I want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I bought one last year. There's 70 deeps on a skid. I bought one last year, one this year. Last year was just a standard Enduro Hive Propyl. This year was the Copper Plus Enduro Hive Propyl. So they're they're the top of the line that he sells, but I hope they last me the rest of my beekeeping career. Oh, I see what he's doing. Yeah. Excuse me. Hey, Greg, I got a question for you. Greg. Now that you're back. You hear me?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey, Greg, I got a question for you.
Shoot.
So Mike had an interesting point there with breaking the corner off. Have you, after you've wax dipped those boxes, have you ever done a cross-section cut of them to see how deep the wax penetrates?
Bruce, what I can tell you at this point for this conversation, that is proprietary information. Oh. What I can show you, though, is well, number one, that was Amazon. It's 9:15 at night, and they still drop stuff off in the middle of the night. When I heard the noise at the door,
did they drop a black cat off at your door? They dropped a black cat off at your door?
No, I saw the black cat earlier, and I thought, is the black cat like banging on the door? No, it was an Amazon driver just trucking something and running. But look at this. Is Michael 21st B on here tonight?
He was earlier, yeah.
Michael, will give you a first look here. Let's see.
Yeah, he's here. Here.
There you go, Michael.
Oh wow.
See, everything's backwards, I guess. On the
no, it's not. It looks
good.
It's
backward. It's backward the way that I look at it. Everything's backwards.
Yeah, that's right for us. Yep.
That looks good.
Well, I made a couple of those up for Michael today because we'll see him at the Tri-County Spring Workshop here this weekend, and he wanted we wanted to get him some boxes to be able to put his frames and things in there.
Those are nice.
look at Via Honeybees there. That's great. Amazon delivered wax boxes at Craig's door. Wouldn't that be nice?
Well, what they would deliver wouldn't be yours. They would
well, maybe
another brand.
There are some very, very big, exciting things going on with Endura Hive, but is Greg Burns speaking at? No, he's not. You know what's going to be? Well, again, no, but Brian will be there, and I'll be there. Michael will be there. Who else will be there? Ron Ray from Hives for Heroes will be there. Who else do I know that will be there?
Conferences are over for us, right, Bruce? We're done down here.
I'm done.
Nobody can have conferences down here anymore.
No, we're all in.
It's time to move on. We've got some after this weekend. I just feel like we've done so many of them. It all just feels like they're all just kind of stacked up. But from here, it's going to go from this to just traveling around the country, the state and surrounding states at bee clubs. Mike Art and maybe Travis Art will be there. Maybe Cody Art will be there. Easy Ox will be there. Tri-County. Good times.
Yeah, I'll be there just Saturday because the actual real job likes to interfere with things. So
don't you hate that with the one that wants to throw you money to do stuff? Says, I need you to be here so we can throw money at you to do stuff. Hate that happens.
If it wasn't like, what is it, hour, and I looked it up the other day, hour and 15 minutes, I think, for me, it'd be no sense for me to go out on Friday. Just, I gotta work until 5. So it'd be, by the time I wrap that up and then drive out, it'd be what, 6:30, pushing close to 7 by the time I get out there, and it closes at what, 8? So yeah, but I'll be out there. What time does it start on Saturday? Is it 8 a.m.?
Probably 8 a.m. Friday has like I'm still trying to, every one of these things are kind of all different. This one has kind of like some kind of breakout sessions or something later in the day on Friday. But the vendor setup isn't even until 2, so but we'll talk. I've got an idea for you. I'll run past you about that.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to going out there. I mean, I had been talking to Michael a little bit about it, and I was thinking maybe I'll cruise out there, and then when I heard you were going there too, I'm like, I might as well just go out and just help you guys, because Michael said he was coming up by himself. So that's why I was like, I mean, I can go out and help him. That way, if he's getting busy, then, I could help him. I could be the grunt, I'll bring my cart. I plan on bringing that cart again. So if somebody needs, to wheel stuff out or anything like that, that cart will be there. But yeah, it'll be fun seeing you guys.
What's the weight capacity of that cart? Asking for a friend.
300 pounds.
I just barely made it. Just barely made that.
No, it might have been more than that. I'll have to look it up. It might have been more than that.
Wow.
I know, like, normally it's like $150 cart or something. I mean, it's got like those, like Mars rover. It's got like those space tires on it. You've seen it. I mean, that thing it's a heavy cart. So,
hey, Greg,
Hey, Mike.
The cart aside, what was the deal with the lighters? Is that coming out in the long version video?
I mean,
the Buc-ee's lighters.
The Buc-ee's lighters, man. The Buc-ee's lighters has been a inside joke, personal tradition for as long as we've been running up and down north to south, hauling bees. Is we always try to stop into the Buc-ee's, and then when I go there, I always my choice operating tool is a Bic lighter. They're cheap and they always work. And so we always have Bic lighters. And so when I saw the Buc-ee's lighters years ago, the first time we were in a Buc-ee's, I just thought, hey, that's cool. And so I bought a bunch of them, and there's always like a lighter in the, the little door handle of the truck, the little spot there. There's always one in the console, always one in my pocket, always one here. So I buy them like by a dozen at a time and throw them everywhere. That meant, so no matter where I'm at, every single one of us has a Buc-ee's lighter. And there are some times like where's yours? I don't have it. And there's just the one laying around, and you say, score. If I wouldn't have put all those Buc-ee's lighters everywhere, if I wouldn't have stashed them, then we wouldn't have had a lighter. And then I'd be searching for an old soggy matchbook.
I got you. Just wondering. Because I see Todd wants you to, when you do your worldwide tour, to bring him some.
They're special. Look at that. That right there is, the kind of guy Michael is at the very end of a show. And you kind of have I got to haul stuff around. He's tired. I'm tired. He's got a pallet jack of stuff. He's taking it out to the trailer, and I'm whipped. I just kind of sneak up behind there, jump on the pallet jack. He has no idea. His dad's laughing. You can see him just sort of dig in there a little bit further, and eventually he looks back to say, "What is going on?" And I'm just laughing. Good times. Great photo. I wonder who caught that. That must have been. Well, it wasn't Michael who caught that photo, and of course it wasn't me who caught that. That was was it Bruce? Was that you?
It was Mr. Softman.
Mr. Softpan. Mr. Saucepan caught that. Look at that.
I mean, he's the one that's texted me. So,
well, this conversation is really going places tonight that I don't think anyone could ever expect. What you get when you pay a premium price every Wednesday night and listen to the StreamTeam, you get high quality information.
We're boldly going where no one has gone before,
and never will again.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. You see here, that was a freebie.
You see what he did there? Okay. Now, how? Yeah. Okay. Show of hands in the comments here. If you sell nukes, or you sell packages, if you don't already use this, feel free to. But I want to see a raise of hands when you sell a package or a nuke. If there's one hanging on there, and you're going out and you're loading up your customer, and they see that bee there, and you say, wait, no charge. That one is a freebie. If you do it, come on, raise your hand. I can't be the only one. Am I the only one?
I've never even.
I'll do it this year. I'll do it this year.
Yeah, I will.
I haven't, but I will.
I'm not putting my hand down until somebody in the comments says, "Okay, Okay, Tom.
I don't sell bees. I just go down and help out.
Sure, you don't.
Yet.
I don't, and I can't just yet because this year, and I got to chat with you, Greg, because I have a plan in mind that I want to get, I don't know, 15 or whatever queens, probably first week of July or so, second week of July. After I pull my supers, I'm going to requeen the yard and to kind of shift away from the package genetics that I have in there. And I figure if I requeen at that point, then that'll give them enough time for the rest of the season, because they're still the queens from last year. And now if I start to do that demarray, I'm going to work them a little bit harder. So I figured if I put brand new queens across everything at a certain point, and I'm thinking right after I pull my supers will probably be about the best time, because I could throw feed on them all. I can have, they should have a decent amount of stores, weight on them. They'll be happy. I'll have feed on them, and then requeen everything, and then I'll be set for next year then too. So
we're here. We are at 1 hour, 22 minutes, 25 seconds into this world famous Stream Team chat tonight with the one and only Mike Berry. So I don't know if we have time to unpack that right now, Brian, but I would just like to throw out the challenge, the mental challenge on why is it that you would like to replace your package queens with some other queens in the same year? To what benefit?
There's 3 or 4 of the ones that I have now that are, so to say, a little chippy.
Okay.
So they're not all like that, but I want to replace them though too, because a lot of the folks that I've talked to that do the demoray and just do things like that and manipulate like that, they say you tend to work the queens harder. So they pretty much it's like par across the board. They say replace queens yearly. So, and I just figured once I get everything situated, and now I might not need 15 because if I do a couple splits, I mean, I'll have a couple colonies that will raise, they'll have daughters, but the ones from last year, I want to get them out of there. I just want to replace them. That way I get more of like a genetic line from you and just kind of start shifting the genetics. Because last year I said I wanted just to grow numbers. I didn't care about, if any of them were chippy. I put up with some through the fall, and there were a couple people that they had commented in my videos. They said those things were right in your face. Well, it is what it is. I dealt with that last year, but now that my numbers are up where I'm going to want them, then I want to shift and focus on, okay, well, how do I want them?
Sure. I got you. I think one of the things that folks don't realize is when you are working with anything that is in a Carniolan, Caucasian, or even Russian genetic line, they are so in tune with forage that when you get into times of year where there is none and the weather is poor, you will see them become grumpy and unhappy for sure. But I think one of the biggest disservices that I hear over and over and over again. Now, let me be really clear. We sell nukes, we raise queens, and we also sell packages, right? So literally we have a dog in every single one of these hunts. So when I say this is coming from somebody who offers all of these. But one of the biggest, I don't want to say most ridiculous things that I hear every single year is folks saying that they want to replace their package genetics with local genetics, as though package genetics is a breed line of bees. What a lot of folks don't understand is that a lot of the package producers are buying breeder queens, $1,400, $2,100 breeder queens every single year to raise queens from. And a lot of those genetic lines have had more work put into them than whatever local bee they think they're buying from the neighboring queen breeder. Like that is just the fact of queen breeding. And a lot of folks, they don't understand that. A lot of folks who say things like that, however, they do have a dog in the hunt. So they're the guy who is selling nukes. So anything that's a package is evil. And then you have the guys that are just selling packages, and they'll say, no, you don't want nukes, you want packages. I'm telling you, we do all of those things. And until you understand the nuance and what it takes to genetically breed any of these things, a lot of folks they say a lot of things. Get rid of, I think one of the most ridiculous, and I'm not even going to throw their name out because they're here local to Ohio. One of the most ridiculous sales tactics is someone saying, buy this nuke that I'm distributing to you. I'll bring it up to Ohio. I'm going to sell it to you. And then in 3 months, I want you to come back to me and buy one of my queens to replace that poor like, if the genetics were so bad in that package, what are you doing selling it to begin with that it would need replaced in year one? To me, that is absolutely ridiculous. and is a major breach of integrity. The difference would be if you want something very, very specialized and very, very niche when it comes to a genetic line, even if you think you want that, do you really even want that? And you want to get that queen into your genetic makeup. So next year, it'll have drones cruising around that you can breed off of. But I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that I would probably rather have most queen breeders and nuke providers in this area. I would much rather have packaged genetics than genetics coming out of some of the yards here that get inspected in the Ohio area.
I've got a couple over there that I'm 100% content with. You know, like when I went over there today, it was 53 degrees or so in there. And I cracked lids where there was fondant that was wiped out. Like I was pulling the bags out, shaking the bees off. And there were some colonies that they were just still down there walking around. They didn't fly up. They didn't pester me, bug me at all. Now there's a handful of them that are watch what I'm going to say here, Mr. Barry. They're chippy. You know, as soon as I crack them up, now I was using a little bit of smoke, but that did not matter. You open that thing up and there was, you know, I'm just sitting there looking at my veil and I'm just counting. You know, if it's on video, people would think they're like, he's losing it. Look at him. He's staring into nothing. But I'm sitting there and I was going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know, just counting like 20 of them right at my veil. And I'm like, yeah, you jokers, your time is limited. You don't understand what you're doing.
And chippy is also a subjective term. You don't know chippy. I can tell you that might get your attention, but that is, I mean, it's chippy to you. I'll give you that. It's chippy to you on complete docileness.
And
but on the overall scale of chippiness, I would say what I've seen before, where it gets me to the point even to where I'm, you know, and I even told Bruce this, and of course I got stung a bunch, right? And you get tunnel vision when you have that much venom coursing through you, right? But let me just say, when there's this very thick, low frequency kamikaze thing constantly swirling in this kind of a thing, and it's all the way around you, and all you can feel like is you're getting pelted by pepper all the time on your entire body. To me, that's what I'm considering chippy.
He needs to come with you. You need to take him with you one day. He's got to come.
We got to get you down.
I wish we had 20 bees in our veil that day. I'd take 20 inside my veil.
Well, Bruce had 20 inside of his veil there because he just one little. Remember, Bruce? There's just that one more zip. I
forgot to zip. I forgot to zip this side of my neck, and they were crawling. I'm like, why are they crawling on my neck? What's going on here?
But this we laugh. But this is it's actually really important because we deal with this a lot. There are some times where the bees are so incredibly docile, you think they're dead. I mean, they're just looking up at you. They're doing their thing, and you're thinking like, there's nothing I can do to antagonize you enough to have a response. Like by and large, a lot of Italians and things will kind of do that. When you get into the package beef and you get them crossed up with carniolans, you'll get a little bit more behavior for sure. When you get into Russian packages, you definitely start to see a lot more behavior. But Brian, we're not laughing at you because I want to be clear about that. Like what you're seeing in your yard, we all have a scale of 1 to 10 on your experience with what that looks like. And until you experience somebody else's scale of 1 to 10, it's hard to really know what that means.
Right.
But just because you have bees that are on alert, or they're swirling around you, or it's like
no, these ones like they were butt into the veil, into my wrist and everywhere. But the only other, and just to give a little clarity, like some people might say, you know, okay, well, that's not bad. The number one factor that I have to consider is if I see any like slight bit of behavior like that, I have to get that out of there just because my mom is allergic.
Sure.
So if she's down walking the dog or something, because she likes to go down into the yard in the front of the garage and that. You've been over there. She likes to walk into the big part of the yard, and now it's fenced, but she still likes to walk the whole yard, and she'll go down to the neighbors periodically. So she has to walk in front of the fence line where the colonies are. That's where she realized she was allergic before. She was on her mower about 75 feet in front of the hive, so she wasn't even near, and her arm got lit up.
It's a preference, so I think what Greg said, we're not laughing, we just having fun. But in the end, if that's the bees you want, and that's the bees that you are used to you doing, and that's what you want to keep. I mean, who doesn't want that, and you got to do what you're comfortable with, and that's what you enjoy. As you grow to 30 up to 50, you want very, very gentle bees. I don't hey, that's your,
I don't like
your deal.
Personally, like for me to go over there and work them like today. Now, some of the ones that were coming up at me, I used very, very minimal smoke. So that's another thing. I'm popping lids and I'm shaking Hive Alive fondant bags.
They don't like that a whole lot, do they?
They're going to get riled up.
They don't.
The Hive Alive sound, that shh, when you're popping that off and shaking, they're not a big fan of that, are they?
All right, guys, listen here. Listen up right here. Are you ready? Here we go.
Some PTSD here.
I hope they can hear it. Yeah, they're getting on the neck somehow. You have to figure out how they're getting in here.
You hear that?
Well, they were up in my neck. I'm like, they're getting in my neck. I got to get them out.
Well, I have to move some of mine. I got a couple that I noticed a lady moved in and into somebody's house. Well, the bees didn't bother the other person. Well, now she's mowing back there nearby them, and they can get a little frisky, I call it, and I don't want them getting stung by those bees. So my first thing right now is I'm looking for another out yard to move, 8 to 10 more hives. Just get them out of here. I don't want them over there. Even though she moved in and I've had them there for years, she shouldn't have to deal with that. So, you got, mean bees, chippy bees, whatever you want to call them. And they'll slow down. They'll calm down when we get some nectar and April rolls in. Well, but I can't take a chance. I'm like you. I can't take that chance. I got to get them out. She can't be getting stung.
That's the thing too. Like right now, for them to be a little bit like that, you figure we're coming out of a winter. We're warming up. This is like the first real warm spell that we'll have up here. Like we're going to have consecutive days. We've had a lot of weather. There's been a lot of systems that have gone through thunderstorms and stuff. So the weather riles them up, and there's absolutely nothing for them to forage on.
Yeah.
They're a little feisty, and you expect that, but I just want to kind of hone in a little bit.
Absolutely.
That's this year. That's more of my goal. Like last year it was grow. This year is
make a bunch of nukes for sale.
The growth has happened. Now I'll focus on getting into that lane where I want to be at. And I mean, could I sell some of those queens? I probably could.
What happens when you get bit by that bug is I guess what I want to see, Mike said he's going to save this and check mark this one. I think we need to do the same thing for here and say, okay, does Brian get bit by the nuke bug? Because if he does, I wish we would have taken a video down at Bruce's place because he had Zach's queens, my queens, some other new queens,
Kona queens,
and by and large, they were all mostly chippy. Because of the local environment, what was actually going on there in that moment, you take here it's kind of it's a neat thing when you think about it though. You take those let's just say 4 lines of bees under unideal conditions, and they were all grumpy. Every single one of them was grumpy. There was one or two of the pink dot queens that were extremely calm in the rain. I have no idea why those ones were, but the thing is you start if you had a scale of unidealness, and so at a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most unideal, and 1 being that typical classical, the spring classical music sequence, whether it's the birds chirping and the flowers and all those things, that being 1. When we were down there at Bruce's, that was probably 10. It was overcast, high barometric pressure, dark, raining, and yellow jasmine. All those were all stacked up, and the bees were all 4 acting like that. Let's call that a 10. if you go from 10 and you just bring that down to like 7, like you just start to alleviate some of the unidealness in that scale, you'll start to then see the genetic differences where, okay, these 3 lines, cool as a cucumber. This one, grumpy. You get down to like, okay, 5 and 4 and 3. Now 3 of the 4 are totally fine. Now this one is still grumpy. When you get all the way down to the most ideal conditions, when it's that colony or that particular breed line are still grumpy, okay, that's something with the breed line, something else specific to that or the colony. That's the neat, nerdy things that are interesting to see. And that, matter of fact, Bruce, I think you got to pay attention to that this year. What yard? That was Appleton Farms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd like to see some feedback on that, on how are you seeing differences in behavior, especially on the one end of the yard, you know, furthest away from when we were coming in and out of there.
Yeah, I will see some. I know I'll see some difference.
Even that one yard when we were in that one hive and you pulled that pink, and think they were just calm. Remember?
Keep my
What's that?
Get them! Don't let them get you.
Gosh. That was me opening up those dang nukes. Mike's.
I was just laughing. I was thinking, look how confident Bruce is there. He's loving it right now.
Oh man, me and my fat self running down that hill. That looked good. I used to be athletic, but not anymore.
I love
Bruce is a big guy. You're a big guy though. Like you're tall, man. I remember the first time I met Bruce, and I knew he had played football. I'm like, dang, gone.
Well, I'm 6 feet. I'm not that big, but
yeah, you're a pretty big guy. You're no little guy.
All right. I'm a lot bigger than I used to. I'm bigger weight.
Well, I'm talking about height wise and just shoulders and all.
Yeah.
I'm
big boned.
See, you're big boned.
Well, I think we're all in shape. I'm round. That's a shape.
Me too.
That works.
I'm in the process of bettering my health.
Brian, you look like you're slimming up there some. Let's not call you slim.
See, I'm from 7 months ago now. I'm down. Let me see. What is it? 23 pounds.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, I would love to. Pear is a shape. Utah Glade says pear is a shape.
Pear is a shape, especially when you have the was it the Wiener warehouse in between your bee yards. Yeah. I mean, I'd be in there. There's no way. Oh my gosh!
I got on the scale this morning. Actually, dropped about 12 pounds in the past couple of months since I got busy again.
Wow!
But we're like eating all better. Like my wife gets her own wheat. She grinds it. She got a grinder, man. She orders wheat now. We make our own wheat bread. I mean, it's crazy the stuff we're doing now. Trying to.
I got on the
you
scale
get older,
this
you
morning,
start seeing this.
One at a time. She's making all kind of sourdough. What does she call them? Focaccia breads or whatever, and it's all this cinnamon sugary braided. And I got to get it together, guys. I am totally backsliding when it comes to my diet. It is so bad. Like
she needs to make those when I come down for package delivery days.
I bet she'll accommodate.
Yeah.
We'll have to hide those. That has to be away from the normal coffee and donuts thing, you know.
Yeah.
Well, hey, 1 hour and 41 minutes in, guys. I mean, we've covered a lot of ground, but yet covered no ground. It's one of the great mysteries of the StreamTeam beekeeping chat. We talk about everything, yet nothing at the same time. It's a real gift we have.
Greg, thank you, buddy.
You bet.
Friends don't let friends paint bee boxes.
That's
# Endure Hive. Bruce's bees here. Thank you, buddy. StreamTeam. World famous.
Look at that.
Beekeeping season. Be the lighthouse. There we go. Look at that. Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen.
It's great seeing Mike and Bruce here together. It's the trip was over. You just start to get back to regular stuff and you get in the regular groove. And then I see Mike pop up there and it took me a minute. And I'm thinking, wasn't that Mike? Is that really Mike? I'm thinking that. And then it hit. So Mike, it's good. It really is good seeing you guys in here. And Bruce, I wish we could all, get together in person, all of us, all four of us, more often and break bread and experience life. And maybe at some point we can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A big thanks to Greg and Susan from Nature's Image Farm for supplying boxes to the EMBA Learning Yard in St. Louis.
That's good.
Absolutely. Wow. Happy to do it. Honored to do it. And if we can have Endura Hive wax dipped in the EMBA Learning Yard, why not? So I hear they did a great job. I still am sore that I couldn't get out there, and I wanted to see Mr. Brian Zavada give his talk and didn't get a chance to do that. But he's a great guy. So is the EMBA and all the folks there. But yep, it is what it is. It's time of year, Brian, where everything is starting to ramp up. Bruce, what's coming up with you this next week?
Well, I'm just gonna go out and kind of peek in on them, maybe feed them again if they've eaten all the food. And I think I'm gonna remove the feeders out of those nukes and maybe add a frame in there and see if I can get that drawn out in the next week or two and be getting them sold or put in bigger boxes here within the next couple of weeks. Those nukes. That's gonna be my primary goal. I'll probably peek in on some other stuff, but I'm kind of just letting them. I don't want to get in them a lot. We put them through the mill a couple of weeks ago. We split them pretty hard. We yanked frames out. We were not, we talk about how they were. It was partially the environment, but also partially we were moving pretty quick. We were manipulating them. We were throwing frames around here, there in different boxes. And so those poor bees, I mean, they were just minding their own business. And we came into their environment and we started ripping them apart. So I'm just kind of letting them settle in some and I'm not really going to be going into them too much. I'll probably peek in on a few, but I'm not going to be doing anything aggressive, going through a bunch of colonies. I don't think. My main goal this coming week is going to make sure that they, if they've eaten their feed, I'm going to probably feed them again. I got plenty of feed to do that at least one more time. Pull the feeders out, frame feeders out of the nukes. Hopefully they'll be able to go ahead and draw that comb out. But that's my main goal is to get that ready, get those nukes ready to go because they're going to be exploding so fast. I want to be ready to get in bigger hives here within about a couple of weeks. And so that's kind of my goal. But other than that, we'll just have to see. But that's what my plans are.
Good deal. Mike, what do you got going on next week? It's like you've never done this before.
Trying to dodge these rainstorms coming up. We got a lot of rain, but my goal is to push these bees to splits. I got all my cells sitting in the builders right now. I got about 40 of them, and I'm hoping to get them all placed. I got some others coming in that are some of the VSH from the USDA Bee Lab. Breeder queen our Kent Williams in Louisiana has done. He's grafted yesterday, I think. So hoping to get a bunch of cells, start pulling some nukes off my pallet bees, getting them settled. If this kid gets them painted for me, we're gonna try to get all the pro nukes deployed out here under my trees, and then make splits. My priority is always filling my gaps. Kind of like I remember we did that at Bruce's. Like how many holes in the pallets I got. That's kind of me. How many holes in the stands do I got? That's priority because I'm still a honey producer, not a nuke guy. That's my goal. And so going to be doing that. Push these bees until next week. I had to split 2 so far because they're just not going to make it. But with a walkaway split, I can still get a mated queen by April 1st or the first week of April. I'll be okay. But yeah, if we can dodge the rain, we're going to get some cells dropped, some splits made, and holes filled, and then we can kind of get the bees on cruise control where we're just kind of watching size, pulling nukes as we need to, supering because our season goes so long. We if we get the privet, they peak too soon. If we don't get the privet, all right, we're getting a moderate flow and we're trying to keep them from swarming for a month and a half. So they grow and you pull them back down. They grow and you pull them back down. They grow and you put supersonics, go make honey. So it's a real weird deal down here for 2 months of trying to keep them swarming. So yeah, next week's going to be interesting in the rain.
Yeah. Here, I'll tell you in the next week, like I said, we've got warm weather. I was just looking, and Monday they are saying it's supposed to be 71 and sunny. Oh, wow. So I'm probably going to go over and that last dead out, I'm going to get that straightened up. And then I may go through a couple, like I've got one that's a double deep that I just got lazy and never combined it. I never got it back down into a single and then expanded it to that story and a half. So I might check and see where the bees are at, shift some frames down now. Right now would probably be a good time to do that. I'll spot check a couple things just to see where I'm at. The larger colonies, I may just, take a peek just to see what brood they're looking at. But 71 degrees, it'll be a good day to do it. So, but that's about it. I mean, they've got, do I have to do that? No. I mean, I could leave them be. I think for right now, they're all sitting good because, they'll have that syrup on them. They've all got pollen patties on them. They've got an open feed station up there. So, it'll give them something to work on and do. But yeah, things are, it's going to get busy up here real quick. So, and I'm sure, Greg, you guys are going to get super busy down your way very quick.
We might get it just a hair before you do. And so we'll give you a fair warning. We're waiting on the maples to bloom still. So right now, as we talk, it's pouring on top of the barn here. So we'll see. Probably, with these temperatures coming up, we ought to really start kicking some things into gear. But then I know we're going to have a cold pullback, so I'm not going to get real excited about that. But once Mother Nature heads in that direction, she doesn't go in reverse. She just slows up and then goes again. So I would say we ought to have maples blooming, I would think, in the next week or so. And then from then, it's going to be all the kind of the ground things are going to start, the hen bit, some of the dandelions flirting with, and eventually roll into autumn olive and things like that. Then we'll kind of be in that build what's going on kind of a deal.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of work to do with our bees still, but it's not too early to be doing some of the things. Right now, it's just interesting because we're just absolutely blessed and thankful with how busy we are here in the shop with everything else, and that's just where all hands are on deck, where the main part of our focus is in right now. And for me, it's just what a blessing it is to be able to work with just something, and some folks may think of how small or trivial it is. To me, it's a big deal, but for me to be able to collaborate with Bruce to get him equipment for his yard, with working with Mike and helping get him equipment to sell down in his area, to be able to have Mike as a friend, a brother, someone also selling Hive wax tip down in Louisiana. To me, these are the things that are like so rewarding, and I'm trying to just make sure that I take the time right now and just to be fully grateful and appreciative of all the little connections, of all the people that are in our life, because it gets so easy just to get so caught up and hurry up and wait, or do, or I've got to get this done, or I've got to move, shake, dig. That sometimes we're complacent with being grateful and thankful. And that's a big part of it, because if we are not taking the time during the storms of life, whether the storm is busyness, whether it's whatever that it might be, if we can't take the time to be grateful and thankful, like right now, in some way we have no right to be grateful or thankful when we're on easy street, when things are easier. And I think there's a lot more to that than I could go into all night, but that's kind of where I'm at right now, is just trying to slow down in the right ways during the chaotic, busy part of the season, to just be thankful. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. It'll be a lot of fun this weekend. Brian, I'll see you. I'll see Michael. We'll see the Easy Ox fellas will be up there. Tri-County workshop, spring workshop there in Wooster. If you're listening to this, make sure you stop by, say hi. Love to talk with you about bees. It's going to be a lot of fun up there. That's this coming weekend. From there, it's a roller coaster. We'll talk more about that. I know we did just post learning yard dates on the website. So, I mean, season is here. We're starting to really sell out on some of the package date pickups. So if you are looking for package bees, nukes, queens, or supplies, specifically Hive wax tip, go to our website, nature'simagefarm.com. We'd love to earn your business, see you here in the shop, fellowship with you, and maybe we can help be some small part of your journey. It's going to be awesome. Until then, fellas, next week we'll be on Bruce's YouTube channel, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. When you're done watching this, make sure to check out and subscribe all 4 of our channels here. Mike Berry Bees, Castle Hives, Bruce's Bees, Nature's Image Farm. While you're at it, we just put out a fun little video, little teaser video. The biggest beekeeping secrets. It might not be what you expect, but it might just be the best thing you never knew you needed. Check it out on our YouTube channel. Until then, we'll see you next Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Bruce's Bees YouTube channel. And as always, we want to remind you to be the lighthouse and be who God wants you to be. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.